think we were in this Canvas folder last time. Yeah, that was it. The JavaScript console. So this here, this code we looked at two sessions in a row now. It's in this folder Canvas. I committed it to or pushed it. So here's the index.html file. You just put a border around everything. You can see that green border. And get rid of the margins and padding. And specify a canvas for the game. Notice a width and a height specifier in there. And then we load this script. I called it A for application, short for application. And here is an example of some code that uses that. You could think of it as engine code or library code, this A. And then we could sort of make use of it here. So you can see A is the global name. A is in the global namespace. And I put everything under that. All right. And take a look at A. This is where we create that application object right there. Remember, attributes of window are going to the global namespace. This is the canvas from the document. And then we pull out the 2D drawing context from that canvas. That's how we draw to the canvas, through the context. And then we have some kind of text class here. We're drawing text. And we can see that. Well, this is a constructor. See, it's a constructor function. And it takes these arguments. And we save the arguments here. This is where we're recording them. And then we can attach functions to instances of this constructor through the prototype field. And there's a draw function. In this particular example, we have a draw function that takes a dt, a delta time, how much time has elapsed since the last call to draw. And so when the text object, the draw is called on a text object, you know, there's a color. See, the color gets passed into the text object here. It gets saved here, or set to a default black if color's not specified. That's what this does. So this color field here that comes in through the constructor is then saved as a member attribute. So it just, you know, this dot color, that's the color that's attached to the object that we're constructing. It's adding a color field to the object we're constructing. We're inside the constructor. And we're setting it to the value that was passed into the constructor when we invoke the constructor with the new operator. So when we go new text, you know, we pass the color field in here. We set it to there, see. But if we don't call text like that, if we call it like this, so we call new.text. Here's the text. And so this text constructor here, I'm going to call it using the new operator. It's a.text, so this should be uppercase T. That's a naming convention. And I'm going to pass in the text and the location on the canvas. say 100 to 50. 50. And then we pass in a color value. But if we omit that, see, it's the same as passing in undefined. Right. That line there is the same as this line. That's the same thing. So when color is undefined, then this.color is set to undefined. By the way, in JavaScript, undefined is an object. It's a value in a data type. So it's a value that you can pass around, just like null. Null is also a value that you can use. So if color is undefined, we're setting this.color to undefined. And that assignment then evaluates to undefined. So undefined becomes the left-hand side of this OR operator. And undefined is interpreted as false. So because of short-circuiting, once we have the left-hand side is false, well, we need to evaluate the right-hand side to determine whether the overall expression is true or false. And we don't actually do any evaluation. We just take that value. Maybe we do evaluate the value and assign it into this.color. So this is how you get the default. If we want to override the default, then we got to pass in the color here. Let's see, this is red and green and blue. Some random number I could think of there. So once we have a game object T, then we can add it to the OBJs. We can call push on that. There we go. 24 something doesn't work. Oh, there it is. There's the hello right there. So that's how text works. And the draw function, just calls this fill text function. Then we have a box here. That's another constructor function. As a location, a width and a height, and a color. Has a draw function. And then we made this missile object here. And let's make it narrow and long. More like a missile. And all right, what else are we doing here? So you see these game objects. They have constructor functions, and then they have a draw method that comes in through this prototype field. And we have this objects array. This is the last time t. And then we have the loop. And the loop gets the number of milliseconds since some start point. And we looked at that last time. The starting epoch is not clear. And so in this game loop, we calculate the dt, the delta time, take the current time in seconds, subtract the last time that was recorded. That gives us a change in time. And then we record the last time, just update that. And then clear the viewport, set everything to white, paint the viewport white. And that's just a painting it. We could actually clear the viewport. This doesn't actually clear it. Let me show you what clear would look like. Let me leave it alone for now. I'll show you this canvas element here. I'm going to give it a fixed position. It's going to be 0 pixels from the top and 0 pixels from the left. Just to give it a position. And then I'm going to do something else. I'm going to give it a z index here. If it's positive, then it's going to go on top of other things. Just do my normal tidying up here. And Z index, that's kind of like a layer number. So you want to be on top of other things, set it to a positive value. All right, so then if we put something underneath it, like this, we got a big title there. Right? You can't see the title. It's covered up. But instead of clearing the viewport, instead of filling it with white, let's clear it. So it's clear rect. 0, 0, width and height. No, that didn't do anything. Clear rect. Oh, that's not a 0. So I still don't see what's underneath it. So I think we might need to, how do we get alpha to come through? To let alpha come through. Now to render canvas with alpha. So how come this is not coming through? I want the canvas to, I think that's what I've got here. This clear rect, right? Clear rect. Let me do it like this. So if I don't clear this, then we just get, like that bar should go straight across. Let's see. Yeah, see how that works. And so this is where we clear the rectangle, but the canvas, I think there's a canvas alpha. I guess, I mean, I could do something like that. It's not right. How do I get the, oh, canvas? I thought there was, oh, maybe it's a context. That's it. The context. As canvas context, get context. That's it. This thing here, like this, these arguments. What is this? Alpha, WebGL context, 2D, alpha. Boolean that indicates if the canvas contains an alpha channel is set to false. The browser now knows that the backdrop is always opaque, which can speed up drawing. So we set alpha to true. That'll slow up drawing. So we set the, so we get the context. Where do we get the context? It's up here. So pass in this options. That's not it. What was it? Alpha. Alpha is true. Let's see if that has any effect. No effect. Alpha is false. What the heck? Did I break something? Yeah. 5. Alpha is false. So what is it saying here? Oh, this token. That's bad. That token's not right. It should be a comma. Okay. Let me make that true. And if I do false, it doesn't seem to make any difference. You know, if I put opacity here, say 50%, Still nothing. What is going on? What if I did this? -1. Still not, it is not coming through. This is not coming through. So I put it on top. I want it to show through. How can I get it to show through? So this opacity, is this how you set opacity? Alpha. All right, let's see, CSS opacity. How do we get that to show through the canvas? That's it right there. Oh, that's not right. Maybe it's between 0 and 1. All right, that's got opacity, but I don't see the, I don't get it. How come? How come I can't see that? I can't see this heading. Anybody got an idea on that? I set it to hidden. Still doesn't show. I don't know why it's not showing through. Hidden. If I get rid of the Z index. Why does this cover that? Oh, this is false here. Let me make that true again. Why would that not show through?
What if you put a closing tag for the canvas element?
Louder, please.
What if you put a closing tag for the canvas element?
Put a what?
Closing tag for the canvas element?
Oh yeah, maybe that's it. I think that's it. Isn't it quirky? I think that's. I think that may be it. Incredible. Look at that. Look at that. Son of a gun. Thank you for that. I noticed that too some time ago. I don't know why. It's quirky. To me that's quirky. I don't even need this set to true on that. Just this comes through, and then all right. So apparently this is better to use to close the canvas like that. Let me make that a 7 and that a 5, 520. Say. Maybe 420. All right. So all right. That was it. Thank you. And this text here, that's the color. And we got the missile going in there. What should we do next? Get the missile to work, collide with an object, have a like a shooter. When we click shoot the missile. Yeah. Or something else you want to look at?
Can you write a function where it collides with the mouse?
A function that does what?
Like if the collider touches the mouse, something will happen.
You know, my ears are so bad. The function that does what with the mouse?
That if it touches the mouse, something will happen.
Well, like if you get near the mouse?
Yeah.
Goes near the mouse pointer?
Yes.
Well, I wanted something that was going to work well on phones and a PC. So in a PC, right, you can click and select something with the mouse. And you could do the same thing on the phone. The same thing comes through, a selection, right, just a click. Like a tap game, or whatever they call those things. And, but if we use a mouse, I guess we could do the same thing on the phone. We'd have to figure out, like, how, like put your finger on the screen, you leave it there, right? And then move it around, like this. That's what you're thinking? So we can collide. So, how about, like, where we tap, we create an object. I need something more specific. Like, when we tap a spot, we could create an object there. Or give me a more specific action.
Can we have a ball in motion and then we tap it to make it jump to avoid obstacles?
Well, like it's moving, and then we tap it to make it jump up. Yeah, you know, the thing is, I got to keep it simple, otherwise we won't be able to finish. You know, and if we do too much physics, then we're going to get bogged down in the physics simulation. So jumping, there's acceleration and stuff involved in that. So we're going to get into that. So I'm a little, maybe I don't want to go into that. Let's think of something else. How about if I tap and we shoot the missile, just to see it work? Okay, all right. Just as a beginning, and then we'll develop it as we go along. So we don't want to shoot this missile now. Just something like so we'll have, well, I guess we can do it up here. Let's do it up here. So we have this, this game canvas. And someone pointed this out, and I think it was, well, we'll do it like this. All right, so we get the canvas. And let's set the event listener. And it's going to be click. And when the click happens, I think we get an X and Y coordinate point. let's print the X and Y value that where the mouse got clicked. So we're going to set an event listener on the canvas. Let's just see if we can get that click event. It's not set event listener, it's add event listener. There it is. Undefined. Oh, mouse event. So what gets passed in there? See, I printed X spaces and then Y for the two arguments, X and Y. And I noticed a print object, mouse event, and then undefined. So it didn't pass anything in for this second argument. It just gave me an event. So it's a mouse event. So this E is a mouse event. Let's see if it has an X and a Y to it. Probably it doesn't. Oh, it does. So 316 and 133. So if I click here, it's like 0, 0 in the canvas, 5, 5. But is that click point a canvas coordinate or a web page coordinate? Well, it doesn't matter. We're going to just keep it at 0, 0 anyway. So so here we have we'll launch a missile when we click it. So every time I click, I launch a missile. Ready? Click, 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 click. So we got the missile launching. Maybe we want to give it a, the click point. We want to shoot the missile from, like the click point. Maybe the missile will come from the left, but it'll just be maybe the height, maybe the Y value. We'll pass in the Y value of the click point. And so we'll take that missile class. And then here's the constructor. So here we're passing in this Y value now. So pass in the Y value. Yeah, it's working now. So it could be there. And we could have some enemies come up. We'll try to shoot the enemies. Let's try that. Maybe have the box. Let's do like this. I could do something like this. Set timeout. This function runs when the timer goes off, say in 2000 milliseconds. When the timer goes off, we'll create a new box. So it'll be a.objs dot push, and I'll do new box, and it's a random x, y, width, and height, right? Was there a color as well? the x and the y, maybe we'll let the x equal, say 40, no, 400. And let y equal minus, well, I'll make it 100. And let the width equal 30. The height equal 30. So reload this in 2 seconds. You know, oh, something's wrong. 37. Box is not defined. That's should be an A dot box. Application object. There's no box. Where's the box? And XYWH. Oh, there it is this time. So let's shoot the box after we see the box. So now it appears in 2 seconds here. There we go. And then maybe this is our enemy function. Generates an enemy. And then this is how we generate an enemy. And we set the timeout. We set the timeout. And we'll generate an enemy in say 2 seconds. And after an enemy is generated, we'll set another timeout here, and this will be we'll do a random number here. Math random. I think that returns a value between 0 and 1. So I want to make that say maximum of, a minimum of, let's wait a minimum of 1 second, plus we can wait an additional, say 5 seconds, 4 seconds. Let's see if that's going to work or not. So I'm going to shooting things here. Nothing's going to get hit yet. Maybe it's going to the same location, see, so I want to randomize this. Let's do this. This is math.random times, say, the earliest x could be, say, 300. And then maximum of another, say, 300 more. That's 600 altogether. See, and I guess give them a random y here. So that'll be, say, 70 plus math.random. Remember, math.random returns a value between 0 and 1, so some fraction. So just we get a random fraction between 0 and 1, random percentage. So we can take this as maybe the height of the canvas. Maybe the canvas.height. Subtract off some value there. I don't want to go too low, so just subtract off the 70 maybe. So there's my bullets. Those are the enemies. They're a little too fast. And add another. Oh, that should be 4,000, not 4. There we go. Okay. So let's just want to shoot those things. I want to kill those things now. Or maybe we want the enemies to be dropping. So find the box. The box is our enemy. And you got should we have them dropping according to gravity or just moving, I guess. Let's just have them moving down. So this is the draw. So this dot y plus equals, let's say, in 1 second we'll move 100 pixels. So, oh, they're going fast. You see that? They're going too fast. So this is number of seconds. Oh, this is in milliseconds. So, yeah, this is seconds, isn't it? Seconds. How come it's going so fast? So I'm going to go, is that dt in milliseconds? I don't think so. So we got, we could get these missiles and, we see something, we want to shoot it. Let's see, we almost got a game here. Let's do this. So we have to do collision now. So the box, we could check the box for collision. If, well, what have we got? We could do collisions. Let me think about how to do this. So we have multiple missiles and multiple boxes, so we have to do a check between all of these things. So we're gonna have to keep track of those. Let's think about that. How are we going to keep track of that? We keep an array of missile objects that are active. Or the box objects. Maybe we'll just do, let's put it in the missile. So the box object, let's do this. When we add the, here when we create the enemy, We put them on here. Now for every box that we add to the OBJs, we want to check to see if a missile is intersecting with it. So I guess we could just keep a track of the enemies. Something like this, constant enemies. I'll make it an array. And once we get a box in here, then we put it on this array as well. That'll be what the last item in this array. Here's the last item in the array. Maybe it's better to do it like this. Let's do it like this. Constant box equals new box. And then we push the box. And we put the box on the enemies as well. It's a lot easier to do than what I showed you. Create the box, add it to these two arrays. Set the timeout to create the next enemy. And the missile on the box, we don't want the box to get too big, right? So if the Y value gets too big, so the height of the canvas, if it's bigger than the height of the canvas, then it's not visible anymore. I want to take it off the game loop. So we don't need it there anymore. How do we take it off the game loop? We're calling draw because we're iterating through that game loop to call draw. So we got to be careful about taking it off. So if we want to remove it from here, right? So to remove it from here, here's a trick to remove it. Wait, I don't use this JavaScript. Is it split or splice? Sorry, it's splice, not split. Splice. And so it looks like, what's that, 1 to 3? This is 0, that's 1, 2, and 3. So it returns that. Start and end. So you're pulling out something. So how do you get, let me think, how to remove can't remember now how to remove an individual object. I guess we could do it. Let's just do it like this. Let's remove it. So we're going to remove, so we want to remove an object from an array. And I mean, we could just do it in a simple way, I guess. Let me think about it for a second. How to remove a single item. Shift is the beginning, pop is the end, splice. Yeah, I want to use this one. This is what I want to use. So splice. Splice. So 2, 2, that would be 0, 1. That's taking the 3 out, right? Or 3, 4, rather. So 2, 2 is starting at the second and going 2 items. So what we do here is, what's he showing us here? So if we find the item, then we splice it here. This doesn't, oh, the filter. Yeah, this is the way I want to do it. Yeah, okay. So it's a.objs, this a.objs.filter. So what filter does is it'll iterate through all the items in the array and call your function. And your function evaluates to true or false. And when it evaluates to true, it keeps the item. If it evaluates to false, it filters it out. So it'll look something like this. The function gets an item. And then we want to return, if the item is not equal to this, then there we go. That'll do it right there. So basically we want to, if we're off the screen here, then we're just going to take the box out. So to take the box out, we have to remove it from this a.objs array. The array has a filter method built into all arrays. We're going to pass in a function that acts as our filter. It'll say true or false. True, keep it. False, omit the item. See? So it's going to call our filter function for each item. And for each item that we want to save, we return true. And for each item we want to remove from the array, we return false. So, when the item doesn't equal the box, that's the box. When the item doesn't equal the box, then return true. Keep it. But if it equals the box, then return false. Omit it from the filter operation. And then let's put an else here. So we don't want to do this at the same time. So this is a box killing itself. And what about a box? Let's check to make sure that's didn't crash. It's good. All right. All right, that does that. And then now the missile in the draw code, we want to see, you know, if, oh. When a box is destroyed, undo. We need to remove it not just from the game loop, but also from the, what's it, enemies array, right? I better go in through A here. We've got to take it out of both arrays. And when we take it out of this array, I've got to keep in mind that this is in the draw method. We're calling the draw method in the loop, this loop. So we have to maybe go backwards on the loop. So, you know, our index will become invalid. So we need to go, we need to do this separately. We could clone the loop. Let's do it like, that's the easiest thing to do. Let's do that. This gets the whole array. That's how you clone an array. So we're going to clone the array. I'll call it a clone. So you see that. You see, we have to operate on a clone because it's the draw method. When we call the draw method here, it could change the size of that OBJS array that we're iterating through. So we're going to get messed up. We can't be deleting items from the array that we're iterating through calling draw on. I mean, we can, but we might end up skipping. We'll probably skip an item. So it's so what we do here is we clone the array and iterate through the clone. And so when we call draw through the clone array, it may change the size of the OBJS array here, but it doesn't affect us because we made a clone of it. Let's make sure that works. Yep. Something's wrong there, right? So here we make a clone. And then here we draw it. How come that's not working? It blinks and then it does nothing. So need the hello text. These are the enemies. Oh, this, yeah, the enemy, this should be a dot enemies. Uh, 38. And so here, we want to draw the game objects. So we're cloning. We iterate through the clone. We're good. We're getting, we're not seeing stuff anymore. So what's going on there? What's the missile? Missile. What's in here? I think we're messing around with this, right? What's going on with the missiles? This is the so timeout enemy. Let's not generate any enemies. Let's see what happens. This missile is not showing up anymore. I think it was the loop in here. Oh, wait a minute. Let me just do this. I won't move the missile. Does it render? No, it just blinks away there, doesn't it? So we do the draw function here. Maybe things are getting taken out of the game loop. And this that cloning thing, that's what's broken. That is what's broken. So if I just did this, forget about cloning. There we go. So somehow when I do this splice, a shallow copy is good enough. So this works. So you have an array and then use dot, dot, dot like this. That's the spread operator. It does a shallow copy. I guess we can try that. Oh, filter. We could just do So reduce, lots of interesting things. Splice returns a shallow copy based on the provided start end index you provide. If we want the first 3 elements, if we want all the elements, then just don't do anything. Well, that's what I thought we were doing here. So when we pass in a 0, he doesn't pass in anything. So we call draw in all of that, and so we go to the length. I think that should be okay. Not working. Nothing. What's wrong with my clone operation here? I'll leave that out. I'm okay. What's going on? I don't know what's going on. This is going to be, oh, the clone. That's the clone, I see. So this will be, let me get rid of this. I'm going to abandon this. So this a.objs.length. We'll start at the end, and we'll continue while the index is greater than or equal to 0, and subtract. All right, this is and this is a.objs of I, and I'm going to call draw on that. Okay. $33. We're breaking everything. Cannot read property filter of undefined. So filter, it says it can't read filter of, so a.enemies is undefined. Where's a.enemies? It should be here, right? A.enemies. So we get the box prototype saying a.enemies is undefined. Oh, maybe when there's nothing in there.
Enemies is misspelled.
Say it again?
The enemies is misspelled.
Here?
On the other file.
Here?
Yeah. Right before filter.
Which one?
Right before filter.
Right before.
So right before it does dot filter.
Right before this filter. So I can't, I just have so much trouble hearing.
Down one line.
So it's in here?
So down one line. That one right there.
All right, filters.
The M and the N are switched.
Oh, yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense, right? Yeah, that makes sense. Let's get rid of that. All right, so now it's working. There we go. Oh, running out of time. Oh, man. Get that far. So let's just do this real quick. Here's the so we'll do for let I is 0, I less than a dot enemies dot length. So we're gonna, for each enemy, there's an enemy E. There it is. We get an individual enemy, and then we want to see if it's colliding with the missile. So if E dot X is greater than, so we have the missile, right? Missile is this. If it's greater than this dot X plus this dot W, then we know it's off the edge, to the right edge. And then, so if it's greater than that, so that means it's not there. So it has to be less than this. If it's less than this, it's not off the left edge. And if it's less than, if E dot X plus E dot W, the width of the box, that's the right-hand corner. If that needs to be greater than this dot X, the left-hand side of that box. These are all the conditions that are needed to so that there must be some overlap. So I'm detecting some overlap. So we do the same thing for Y. So E dot Y plus E dot H. That has to be less than this dot H. Sorry, less than this dot Y. We're getting this wrong. Wait a minute. I'm running out of time. I think I better stop now, but I can get the collision. Let me just finish it up 5 minutes. If you have to go to class, just run on. I got it, just finish this up. So the box is the E. So if the X value of that box has to be less than the right of the missile, and the right edge has to be bigger than that, and then the Y value has to be the Y value needs to be greater than the Y value of the box. No, I'm sorry, it has to be less than and the Y value plus the height, that's got to be greater than this dot Y. I was just doing that in my head here. So if this is true, then there's a collision. And if there's a collision, then we want to destroy the box. So you would take the box off of the, that's the draw for the missile, right? And basically you have to take the box out of the game loop. Yeah, I'm going too length, but basically here we have to take the box out of the game loop. Remove box from the loop. I don't want to take any longer because we're way over. So that's it.